a hatch pattern that displays in 3D, like we have here. So we know here we have sort of some, looks like aluminium composite sheet panels. They look roughly like they're like 2,500 by a meter high or something. So what we can do is we can create a new material. So I can click on edit type of my wall, click on the structure edit. Now by default we haven't assigned a material to this wall. If I clicked on by category here, clicked on the three little dots. Now I click on, I can click on create and duplicate new material. Click on create new material. I'm going to right click on the material I've created, it's given it a default Revit name. I'm going to rename it called aluminium sheets or something. So now if I click on, so now we have created a new material, we've given it a new name as well. So we have three tabs available to us at the moment. One, we have identity, two, we have graphics, three, we have appearance. Graphics are relating to this sort of 2D line work and hatch patterns that will show up in 3D view and 2D elevation and plan, as well as our surface patterns and count patterns. Appearance means basically how that material will display when you render it, basically. So first of all, I'm going to teach you the ways in which we create a new material, which we've just done, and how can we create a new material that displays a hatch pattern that is of the nature of this rectangular sheet metal. So what we want is surface pattern under foreground. At the moment we have no pattern defined. So I've clicked on define new pattern here by just clicking on the word none. Now note you'll have two pattern types here. One is called drafting and one is called 3D or model pattern. Now both of these will display in 3D. However, the model tool will allow you to actually change the set out of that hatch pattern based on your geometry. I'll show you the difference between the two in a moment. But for example, let's just use this crosshatch here. So we already have a bunch of 2D drafting patterns that have already been created for us. So if I use my crosshatch pattern here, hit OK, it's a drafting pattern, hit OK, hit OK. Now you'll notice that I have a hatch pattern on my wall. And know that I've used this wall type a few times around the product as well. So wherever I've used that wall type, that material is now associated with that type. But ideally, you guys are going to want to click on the wall type you've created, duplicate it, E200, and then give it a, for example, give it a name. Aluminium. Then we click on edit type here, we go back to edit type. Spelling. Anyway, so now we just created a new wall type as well. So now I just want to show you the difference between the 2D drafting pattern and the 3D model pattern. So now if I were to click on my model pattern up here, and let's use one that's already been created for us. Actually no, before I do that, you'll notice that in 3D view, when I hover over that pattern, generally, like we've already learnt about, if I hover over anything in Revit, if I filter through and push tab on the keyboard, I should be able to select that line or that piece of geometry. But given this is a dumb 2D pattern, we can't actually do that, so I can't position it in any way. So if I were to then convert this into a model pattern instead, so go to our model pattern tab here, and use one of these guys, for example, and hit OK. Now we have a model pattern. Now you'll notice that if I hover over one of my lines here and I push tab on the keyboard, I should be able to select each one of these individual lines. and I'll be able to shift that line and basically adjust the set out of that pattern in such a way that the pattern will move proportionally with that move that I'm making. So you'll be able to sort of determine the set out point. Here I'm just using my arrow keys to up and down, sort of just shift it to the top right hand corner of the building there. But you can go into elevation and use the move tool and move it more accurately. So ideally, wherever possible, you want to try and use model patterns because they're just better to work with, and that you can manipulate them to do what you want. So now, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to create a new model pattern that sort of matches this example pattern that we have here, which is roughly like, it might be like 3 meters by 1200 or something. So now if I click on my 3 dots here, click on my foreground pattern, under model, if I click on create new field pattern, now I'm just going to label it, let's call it 3 meters, 3000 by 1500. So now under the type we want basic, we don't want custom. If I had custom selected, that would be where I'd browse for that one of those dot pattern files that I've downloaded or made one using a plugin. But here we're going to use basic. You can see because I've clicked on that tool, it's eliminated by name there. I'm just going to bring it back, 3000 by 1500. Under settings we can have parallel lines or crosshatch. Parallel lines means basically one line at an angle. We want crosshatch because we want to create a rectangle. We know we want the line angle to be at 0 degrees, and then we've given it a name called 3000 by 1500, in which we're trying to replicate this 1500 by 3000 pattern we have here roughly. So now if I change this to 3000 by 1500, by 3000, and I hit OK, I hit OK, I hit OK. Now you'll notice we should have a pattern that closely resembles what we were just looking at in our little elevation